Hey, good morning, guys. So the time has come to take circles, and we're going to be putting them on the coordinate plane. So we've talked about pretty much all the things we need to know as far as circles go. There's a lot more questions in that packet. We've covered all the theorems and postulates and things you need to know. So if you want to do a little independent practice, if you guys want to go through some of those and answer them, please go through them. Send me questions. I'll be more than happy to answer them. I'll take a day here and there to go over those things, but we have to kind of keep moving. So the last thing we have to go over is the equation of a circle. Now, this is going to be a lot related to what we talked about with functions last year. But if you guys remember, one of the key parts of things being a function is that if they fail the vertical line test, in other words, if they cross over 2 times or so, that they're not functions. So the first thing to realize is that circles are not functions. And so just, we're going to graph them, but essentially what's going to happen is we're not going to be isolating y. And you'll see how that helps us. So we have to understand two things, okay? First of all is what makes a circle a circle. And the big thing is that, okay, what makes a circle is that the radius is constant. Okay, meaning all points on the circle, so on the circle, every point on the circle is of equal distance to one point, and we call that point the center, and we call that distance the radius. So what's this distance here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, I'm going to pretend it goes to there. So let's say this distance is 6. So if I said, hey, how long is this distance here? Well, it's 6. Okay, and what we want to know is, what are these coordinates? Now, this is important for us this year. It's going to be incredibly important for you guys next year, because what you guys will eventually find out is that to get those points, we're going to be dealing with triangles, and we'll find that out in a few moments, okay? So I am going to draw a, oops. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bring this up, okay? Now, I'm going to draw this triangle very carefully. I'll try anyway. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so this triangle has a radius of 5. Okay, so first of all, I know some points. It's 5, 0, right? That's a point, right? 0, 5, right? I went 0 across. I went 5 up, and then I went -5, 0. Right, and 0, -5. So first of all, the big thing is that my equation of this circle needs to satisfy those 4 points right there. Okay, but it also needs to satisfy all these decimal points kind of here in the middle. Now I'm going to pick out a few that hopefully will help explain this. This point right here is on my circle, and that's the point 4, 3. So if I said, hey, how do I get to that point right there? Okay, well, I know the point is 4, 3, and I know the radius is 5. Right? And how did I know that? Well, this distance right here, do it in a different color. This distance right here is 4. And this distance going up is 3. And if that doesn't kind of stick out to you guys should be seeing that there's a little right triangle in there, right? That's a 3, 4, 5 right triangle, okay? And in fact, we could have actually gone 3, 4 and still had a radius of 5. So believe it or not, our equation of a circle is actually going to be the Pythagorean theorem. So if you guys don't remember the 3, 4, 5, that's 3 squared plus 4 squared is equal to 5 squared. In other words, to get to any point on this circle, even the ones that are decimals. How about this point right here? I'd have to go some distance x and some distance y, right? At any point, it would have to be some x, y, right? And I know that if I draw the radius, which is always the same length, that again, the important defining characteristic of a circle, that's going to be r squared, okay? So to find any equation, x squared plus y squared is equal to r squared, okay? So that's kind of the big, broad overview of things like that, okay? So the equation of this circle, well, my radius was 5, correct? So let's get rid of everything on here except for that radius of 5. So for this circle right here, if I wanted to find the coordinates of any of these points, okay, and I'll leave those numbers up there because they'll still work. If I wanted to find the coordinates of any of these points, all I need to know is x squared plus y squared. Well, my radius is 5. And 5 squared is 25. So x squared plus y squared is equal to 25. Okay. Now, could you plug in numbers for x and find y? Absolutely. Could you plug in numbers for y and find x? Yeah, absolutely. Right. You have two variables. If you plug in one, you should be able to find the other. Couple things. So let's just first of all let's make sure a couple of these points work. I have 5, 0. So that's x is 5, y is 0, and that should equal 25. So yeah, makes it true, right? But if I pick 0, -5, I have 0 squared plus -5 squared equals 25. And does that make it true? Sure. 25 equals 25, right? What about this point right here, which was 4, 3? So x equals 4. Y equals 3. Does that equal 25? Sure. 16 plus 9. Okay. Does that tell us that most of these other points are going to be ugly irrational numbers? Of course they are. So if you look, you only have a few points on there, and that's actually why I picked the circle, because you can actually find some of these points right here, right? So the big thing to take away is that essentially you're going to use the Pythagorean theorem. You're going to use the distance formula in the Pythagorean theorem to find the equation of a circle, okay? Now, when the circles are centered at the origin, it's all very nice. When they're centered at the origin, this is you right here, okay? It's when we move circles off of the origin that they tend to get a little more difficult, okay? So, if I take the circle and I move it off the origin, so what if I put that same circle, I'll do the same one, the radius of 5, but I put that circle up, I don't know, centered here at 2, 3. So I'm going to draw the same circle, it's just going to be centered up there. So it's still going to have a radius of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay? But now, not quite so simple, right? Because now the points it has to satisfy, they're not those, nice, neat numbers. This is the point 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3. So this is the point 7, 3, right? This is the point 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right? This is the point -3, +3. And this is the point 2, -2. So again, I mean, some things you notice is that these both have 2, right, as an x coordinate. These both have 3 as a y coordinate. So there is going to be some things there that should be fairly familiar. All right, so now the question is, how would we get to any point on the circle? Well, the first thing we need to do is we need to go ahead and say that our radius is still always the same distance. Okay, so for this circle, the radius is 5. Okay, so that has not changed. Okay, let's go ahead and let's give these points a name. Okay, let's make a general formula. So any point on the circle would be x, y. Now those numbers are variables; they are going to change. I'm going to use 2 different letters to represent the center, and those letters are going to be H and K. That should give you guys a heads up, because if you remember from last year, we definitely used H and K. We definitely use H and K as the vertex of an absolute value function. So if that doesn't ring a bell, that's okay. We can go over that if you need to. So how do I find the distance between H and X? And how do I find the distance between K and Y? Well, again, this distance right here, if you guys remember the distance formula, right? Well, we would take X minus H. Right, so this distance right here is X minus H. So maybe I'll fill that in. So we're going to call this distance, right? This is X minus H. Right? Take this one minus this one. And if you remember, again, your distance formula, this distance is going to be Y minus K. This number minus this number, Y minus K. So if I wanted to, if I was so inclined, I can go ahead and I can make myself a little equation here, right? I can say X minus H squared plus Y minus K squared is equal to the radius squared. That's A squared, B squared, C squared. Okay? So again, this is how you find the equation of a circle. Okay? Where your center, so X and Y is any point on the circle. HK is the coordinate of your center, and R is your radius. Okay? So bar none, even if this makes absolutely no sense to you guys, it's okay. We'll get through that. We'll kind of come through that. We'll take a day, maybe go over the distance formula, things like that. But I just wanted to give you guys a heads up of kind of where this came from. So I left you guys some work to do. Did I leave it on here? I did. Okay. And that's this. Okay. So here is your equation centered at the origin, right? And here is your equation when it is not centered at the origin. Okay. So I'm going to go through a few of these, and then I'm going to leave you guys to do a few of them as well by yourself. Okay. So it says, example, write the equation of the circle shown in the graph. And they said, first of all, what's the radius of the circle? Well, you can see pretty obviously that the radius is from here. It's 1, 2, 3. Okay. So the equation is equal to x squared plus y squared because it's centered at the origin. So hk is actually 0, 0. And what are we going to say? That x squared plus y squared is equal to r squared. What's your radius squared? Your radius squared is 3 times 3, which is 9. So the full equation of the circle should be x squared plus 9 squared. Oops, x squared plus y squared. Sorry. X squared plus y squared is equal to 9. Okay? Now, when the circle is not centered at the origin, okay, so I'm going to tell you something. It says write the standard equation for a circle with center -2, 5, and a radius of 7. Okay, so center. We said that the letters we use to represent the center are H and K. So your center is -2, 5. So H is equal to -2. K is equal to 5. Your radius is equal to 7. So let's go ahead and let's plug these in. So we're going to say x minus h, x minus a -2, plus squared, plus y minus k, y minus k is equal to your radius squared. Please do not forget to square your radius, okay? So again, let's just simplify this a little bit. -2 actually means x plus 2, okay, and squared, plus y minus 5 squared, and 7 squared is going to be 49. So what's the equation of the circle? X plus 2 squared plus y minus 5 squared is equal to 49. If you guys remember, what that means is that from doing, other equations, stuff like that, when you're given the equation, so here you have the equation, I have +2 and -5, you have to remember to find the circle, you're going to reverse those numbers, okay? So if you guys remember the rule from last year, anything inside parentheses gets moved left and right and up and down. It gets reversed, okay? So this is going to reverse, this is going to reverse, okay? So the point -5, 6 is on a circle with a center 1, -3. Write the equation of the circle. Let's see, I need to extra point -5, 6 on the circle with center 1, -3, -5, 6, -1, 3. So -5, 6, and 1, -1, 3. Okay. So this is point, and this is the center. Okay. So what didn't they give you in this case? They didn't give you the radius. Okay. So we do know that it is, the general form is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared is equal to r squared. Well, let's go ahead. Let's start. Well, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 variables, and they gave us 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. So we should be able to find r. So x is -5. H is -1, so minus -1 squared plus y was 6, k was -3. -5 minus -1 actually means -5 plus 1. So what is this going to be? -4 squared. 6 minus 3 is going to be 3 squared. And again, you guys should see this coming. This is going to be a 3, 4, 5. The -4 squared actually becomes +16. 3 squared becomes 9. R squared, 16 and 9 is 25. So my radius is equal to, again, take the square root of both sides. So my radius is 5. Okay. Now they didn't ask for the radius though, they asked for the equation. So you did find the radius. Let's go ahead and put it together. So we know again it's x minus h squared plus y minus k squared is equal to r squared. Let's fill these in. I know that x minus -1 plus y minus 3. Okay, again, what's h and k? -3 is equal to 5 squared. Okay, and again, just to clean this up a little bit, we don't write minus and negative, we write +1, and we don't write 5 squared. We know what that is, 25. So what is the equation of the circle? This is the equation of that circle. Okay, and again, given this equation, I know that the center is reversed, is going to be -1, +3, right? Reverse those two signs, -1, +3. And don't forget that this is not your radius, is not 25, your radius is 5. Okay, so this is your radius squared. But this is the equation of the circle, x plus 1, y minus 3, is equal to 25. Okay? All right, so let's graph this one, and then I will set you guys loose to do, I don't know, maybe a few of these. You guys should be able to do. Yeah, as you guys do 3 and 4 tonight. Okay. So again, let's go through this real quick. It says graph the circle with the equation x minus 4, y plus 2 is equal to 36. Okay. Determine the center. Careful, h and k are subtracted. So the same thing we said before. We have to reverse the signs. This -4 is going to become +4. This +4 will become -2. So 4, -2. 1, 2, 3, 4, -2. Okay. And your radius is, again, be careful, it's not 36. 36 is the radius squared. So your radius is actually only 6. Okay. Draw a circle freehander with a compass. So again, the easiest way to do it if your radius is 6, you have this point. Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I know that point right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I know that point right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so if you have a hard time drawing a circle, you can go ahead and you can do something like that. If you're doing this on a computer, you should really have no kind of excuses that is your circle right there. Okay, so use this one as an example. You guys tonight can do on the back. Don't try and do these. We'll go over these tomorrow. But these right here, you guys should definitely be able to do. Oops. 4A, B, and C. 4A, 4B, and 4C. And number 2. So let's do 2 and 3 tonight. Yeah, let's do 1, 2, and 4 tonight. You can skip 3. We'll come back to 3 tomorrow, but definitely do 1, 2, and 4 tonight. Okay, so listen, I hope this helped. If you guys have specific questions, please send them.